Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Byrne. I'm from DBpsychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. So just to say, I hope the sound is okay. I'm trying out a new system this week. So if anybody notices that it isn't, just let me know. So this week I'm talking about this week's blog, which is the first of the new year. So just Happy New Year to everybody, and I hope you had a good Christmas. And I'd also like to preface this by saying I'm going to be doing a lot of self-care this month, and talking about habits and things like that that will be helpful to you. So keep an eye out for all those blogs. This week's blog is about the benefits of self-care and what can happen when we neglect our self-care. And the reason I'm doing that is next week, in fact, is one of the toughest weeks of the year. We find it very difficult at this time of the year, particularly in our climate up here in the Northern Hemisphere, with the winter months to cope with the darkness. But and then the after Christmas, the post-Christmas letdown really sets in about next week. So a lot of extra TLC next week. And as I said before Christmas, think about contacting people. Maybe you didn't see them over Christmas, but make sure those people are positive. So, extra coffee out, things like that. Little things you can do for yourself that's going to lift up your spirits, uplifting music tracks. Do a little bit of planning maybe today and tomorrow, and then have it ready for to go during the week, next week, and the next couple of weeks. Just to tide you over this period. Get out at lunchtime, things like that. So getting on to this week's blog. This week's blog, as I said, it was all about the benefits of self-care and what happens when we neglect our self-care. So what happens when we do neglect our self-care? A few things can happen. Well, for most of us, our to-do list gets endless and we never get, we're never on it. So we never get to the bottom of the to-do list. We end up taking care of everybody else and everything else, doing everybody else's to-do list as well. Our brain, we have, our sleep problems go out of sync, so our brain gets very wired up and the washing machine goes on spin mode. And you never seem to have a lot of time for yourself. And then you tend to pick up an awful lot of coughs, colds, flu, and things like that. And that then, if you get the flu, then it just stops you in your tracks. Or some people have been known to actually attempt to walk through the flu and keep going. Particularly if you're very stressed, you seem to have an awful lot of, a big long to-do list. An awful lot of parents would do that. So that's not a good idea, guys. That is neglecting yourself. That is really, really neglecting yourself. And we wouldn't do it to other people. So why do we do it to ourselves? When that gets to a degree that it becomes much worse, or it becomes chronic, in fact, chronic neglect of our self-care, it shows up in other ways in our life. It shows up as high stress. It shows up as anxiety. It can even show up as depression, high blood pressure, heart disease, any body inflammation, arthritis, fibromyalgia, stuff like that. Our immune system, as I said, gets shot even more. So, not just the coughs, colds, and flu, we get other reoccur, we pick things up, so think about that, your immune system, suddenly you're picking up everything. The kids come home with something from school, as they inevitably do, and you pick it up. You get insomnia, so the sleep difficulties, you may have sleep difficulties at first, but then that gets worse and worse, and you become, you have insomnia. You then become exhausted, and you get burnout, and you are less effective at, work and at home. You may even find yourself coming home from work so exhausted that you're checking out. You check out. That term, you check out. You don't want to talk to anybody. You're disassociating. You're getting angry with people. You really don't deserve your anger. And your loved one then, your partner starts to make complaints. So this is all effects because you're not taking care of the little, doing a little bit every day to look after yourself and your self-care. So what are the boundaries? If we do that little bit, and I'll get to some of the little bits that you can do in a minute. I have a list on the blog. But what if what are the benefits? Well, first off, you're setting boundaries. Okay, you're setting a healthy boundary, and you're teaching. If you've got children, you are teaching them that it's okay to take this time for yourself. So you're setting your healthy boundaries. You're saying no to people and maybe deleting people from your life that take advantage of you. The other thing you're doing is you're raising your positivity and your motivation. So that's going to impact, work and your productivity. You're going to have increased productivity. You're going to be more focused, for work and for, your personal life. Your communication skills will also improve because you're going to be able to ask what you need, and you're going to be able to say no in an appropriate way. And the other thing is, two more important things really, and the most important things is you're going to have reduced your stress levels, and that includes getting better night's sleep, but you're also going to improve your health, your overall health when you're looking after yourself. So the basic list. If it has become so chronic that you are, you're completely burnt out, the list may actually start off with you asking for help. It may be the fact that you've ended up so ill that you're in bed. So the first thing, of course, will be to go to your GP and get help. So if it's that bad, if it's that chronic, and that's where you've landed, that is where you've landed. So accept that and say, okay, this is my wake-up call. I'm now going to ask for help. I'm going to go to my GP. I'm going to start managing my health a little bit better. And, maybe a case of, just being able to get out of bed and go to the doctor or going to a therapist and asking for help. My basic list for self-care will be managing the amount of time I sleep. Meditation, doing a little bit of meditation, even doing a 3-minute breather, even a few times a day, 3 or 4 times a day. Nip off to the loo and do a 3-minute breather. You can do a very simple technique called the 7-11 technique. And I have a podcast of that and how to do it, and it's all linked out in the blog. I also have a link out to my podcast on mindfulness and how to do that. So, a little bit of meditation every day, a little bit of taking time to just calm down the breath. And then eating regular meals. An awful lot of time when we're very highly stressed, we skip lunch or we skip breakfast. We may get something later in the day and we tend to head for all the sugary stuff. And that only ends up being a cycle, and we crash then. We have, you crash out from having all this sugar in your system, all this caffeine and everything in your system. So having regular meals, that might mean 5 to 6 small meals a day, or it might mean 3 regular meals, but you have to do it. And if you're working, please start taking your lunch. You have to start taking your lunch time. Take that and have something to eat, and maybe get a quick walk in, a 10-minute walk in. Drinking plenty of water. So start. I know coffee is the staple for many people, particularly if they're very stressed or they're if they are, if they're very busy. You get the caffeine hit, but you're actually only setting up a cycle. You would be, in fact, better off, reducing the coffee or the high caffeine level after 12 o'clock, maybe swapping something out for decaf initially, but then also swapping out for more water. So the point will be to start incorporating more water into your life. I also recommend that people exercise. As I said, even a 5 to 10 minute walk at lunchtime, particularly at this time of the year, it is very, very important. And I know today's weather is not that great, but if you can get out for even 10 minutes, it'll do you the world of good. And if you are working, that is a great way to, invigorate yourself for the afternoons and help stave off the afternoon slump, particularly if you can cut back on the coffee. And of course, your basic self-care is, I always say the basic self-care includes showering regularly, changing your clothes, changing your bed linen and things like that. Sometimes people forget to do that because they're so chronically ill. That comes into the chronically ill stage. But another way that you can actually take care of yourself in terms of clothing is to dress the best you can today. Every day you dress the best you can just for today. That is so motivating, empowering, and it'll give you a little bit of boost in confidence if you are dressing the best you can for you, for you, your lifestyle for today. Journaling, doing a brain dump even every night before bed, gets that all out of your head, gets everything out of your head down on paper. Your brain can say, okay, I know where it is, I know where I can access it, so therefore I can take a break. I can take a break and I can have a good night's sleep. Your brain doesn't have to think about it then while you're sleeping, because it will continue to think about everything you're stressed out about if you do not, get it down on paper and literally you're telling your brain, there it is, you can forget about it now, you can have a rest, and we'll come back to it tomorrow. We can come back to our day. So if you're working, you use your planner, you use it's either an online planner or, if you're like me, it's paper and pencil planner. You do you do a night review every time, just 10 minutes before you leave work. You do your to-do list for tomorrow, set your top 3 priorities, and forget about it. Go home and relax. In the brain dump at night before you go to bed, or journaling before you go to bed, if you want to do it, you can do it in bullet points, or you can do full sentences. End up at the end, list 3 things you're grateful for. There is nothing better than gratitude to boost your mental health. Absolutely nothing else. We know this from studies. If you start doing this on a regular basis, it has to be consistent. It has to be, every night, finish off the day, 3 things I'm grateful for. That will be the quickest way to boost your mental health. And it will continue on longer. That boost continues on longer than any other form of, mental health tools that you can use. The other thing I would say to you is, meeting up with, and it has to be positive friends and family. Please, not the negative ones. Your self-care deserves, and you deserve to be around more positive people. So meeting up with supporters, people that you will find support from, and you will support them. It'll be a two-way street there. Is a great way for you to take care of yourself. So making that appointment, schedule it in, schedule your meditation time in, schedule in, your relaxing bath, schedule in things for yourself at the start of the week before you schedule in anything else. Remember, as I said at the start, you're showing your kids, you're showing, other people in your life, these are my boundaries. This is for me. I'm entitled to do this. I deserve this. So, meeting up with positive friends and introducing, as I said, good habits. Good habits. I have 6 blogs on good habits. All ideas, lists and lists of things, and I have linked them out. You can check the blog and go do it. Now, my challenge to you. If you think you have everything on that list covered, all right, you think you're great and you do all that already, my challenge to you is an upgrade. It's an upgrade challenge. So you go and you take something that you do on that list and you think about it. So even if it's a good habit, what would be an upgrade for me? And I give you a whole load of it. I give you a few examples. Some of them cost a little bit of money. Some of them don't cost any money at all. So have a look at the list that I start you off with on the upgrade challenge. And then I'd love to hear what you do. I'd love to hear what people's upgrade is. So you're upgrading, constantly upgrading what you can do for your self-care for you every week. Little things, small things. If it's, you normally do your own nails, maybe you go to the salon to get your nails done, even once a month. You take a shower every week, you don't have time to have a bath. Well, maybe you schedule in on a Sunday morning a leisurely bath with favorite bubble bath, or even Epsom salts to detox your body. Think about it. A face mask, anything at all. Upgrade. A little tiny upgrade will boost your self-confidence, self-esteem, your motivation, and it'll set you up for next week. So a little bit of an upgrade on your basic self-care. So have a look at the blog. It's at www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com. And on Monday, I will be talking about setting good new habits, because most people will have, nearly 90% of us will have deleted our New Year's resolutions at this stage. So I will be talking you through maybe starting better way to start them off on Monday, and I will talk to you all again about that next Saturday morning. And thank you as always to Deirdre and Collect for tuning in, and everybody else who's out watching live and will watch it later in replay. So I'd say good morning, and if you can let me know, girls, how the sound was, because this is a new sound for me. Thank you.